Happy New Year and welcome to the In Between podcast. I am so excited for more solo episodes to come in 2025. Ruby is forcing me out of my comfort zone, which is kind of the theme of the new year. So on this solo episode, I wanted to do some New Year's tips is originally what I called them, but I'm going to call it a New Year check-in because I don't necessarily love tips, resolutions. I think you can start over really at any point in your life. You don't have to wait for the new year. You don't have to wait for Monday. If you feel like Tuesday's a good day to start over, then go ahead and start over. So we're just going to check in and I'm going to share with you 5 things that I do in the new year, but also almost monthly to really check in with myself and try to figure out if I'm aligned with my goals, with my vision of where I want to be. So the first one is going through an intention setting practice, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people like intention versus resolution because intention can be one word, it could be a phrase, a quote, what you're intending to do for that year. For 2024, my intention was to run my marathon. It was to start my podcast. It was really a year of push. And I haven't really figured out 2025 intentions, to be completely honest, but I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of pulling back and focusing on what I'm trying to build versus pushing forward. So 2024 was a real push, and this time it's more of a slowing down. So it's asking yourself, what do you want for this year and how can you achieve it? So instead of focusing on really the steps, you're more focusing on the overarching theme, word, what you're trying to achieve, feeling in 2025. And that can be as simple as a journal task, it can be as simple as a prayer, or just time alone and feeling into yourself what that word or intention is going to be. The second one is something that I've implemented at the end of 2024 that I'm definitely bringing into 2025 and is a good check-in, especially on days that you're just struggling with finding the positive in life, is the best case scenario. And this is something that I heard on the Skinny Confidential podcast from one of my favorite podcasters, the Balanced Black Girl podcast. And she talks about journaling the best case scenario. And I love this. And I'm going to actually get to gratitude journal, but she does a journal practice every morning called the best case scenario. And it is literally when you write out the best case scenario for your day. And I have been doing this. I love it. I write out the best case scenario is I finish this project or I finish all my work for the day. The best case scenario is I get to see the ones I love. I hit my macros. I go to the gym, whatever the best case scenario is. And it's training your mind to find the best case scenario versus focus on the worst case. And I personally, while I am an optimist, my voice in my head is a pessimist, and so I'm always focusing on what's going to go wrong. And so this journal practice has really helped me focus on what could go right, and it's also manifesting that those things go right. Another thing that I would say is checking in with your routines and your habits that you have in place currently, as well as where you want to be. Do your routines and habits align with where you're trying to go? Do they align with the intention that you're bringing into the new year and into just your life in general? I want to be someone who is successful, and in order to do that, my routines need to look like going to the gym, eating, hydrating my body so that I have the mental capacity to focus on my business, to focus on my work, to focus on the things that I want to come true. It's realigning with your values. Do your values match with your routines? So looking at your routines as a whole, everything from maybe something small like your nighttime routine to your daily work routine. I have the same routines for morning and night pretty much every single day and night. And my mornings look like getting up, going straight to the gym, making sure I fuel myself after that. And then after that, I basically mix it up. Sometimes I'm going into work, sometimes I'm with my family. And then at nights, it's really slowing down. It's reading. I love to sit on an acupressure mat while I read and just having a slow come down on my day versus be on my phone scrolling all those things. So checking in with your routines and really asking yourself if they align with both your values and your intentions that you're trying to set. The next one goes back to the best case scenario journal, because that is a journal practice I do, but I also do a gratitude journal on top of that. And it takes me a total of maybe 3 to 5 minutes before I start my workday. I write down 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's from the day before, sometimes it's things that have happened in the morning, sometimes it's just people that I love. But focusing on both gratitude and the best case scenario, especially at the first part of the day, helps me to get into the mindset of positivity and that things are going to go well. If I'm starting negative, that's how my day is going to go. And so really focusing in on the gratitude, the best case scenario sets you up for success. And then the last check-in I would have you think about is with connection and vulnerability. I think that often we isolate ourselves, and especially if you're like me, I'm a business owner, I'm a solopreneur, I can focus on being in my cave, as I call it, and just isolating and being by myself and getting to work. And that really puts me into a bad headspace because I am not surrounded by like-minded women and like-minded business owners specifically. So taking a look at the connections in your life, making sure that they align with your intentions. And what I mean by that is, like, it does me a disservice to not have other women founders in my life to connect with, because they, one, know what I'm going through, and two, can give me criticism and advice that aligns with what I'm trying to create. And then within those connections, having vulnerable conversations and allowing yourself the courage to admit when you're struggling, admit when things have kind of gone off the rails, and ask for help. And I say check in on those things because it's very easy to fall back into your cave and be like, I can figure it out myself. I don't need help. I don't need to tell them I need to look perfect. And I think at the beginning of the year, especially, like, we want to feel like we're achieving all these goals and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It's okay to come out of the new year and be like, oh God, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I need to figure it out. And I'm giving you the permission to show up that way and admit that it's okay that everything doesn't start out so perfect. But if you allow yourself to connect with other like-minded individuals and you allow yourself to be vulnerable and show up as how you are really feeling, you are going to give yourself the peace to lean into what you truly want to create. So going into 2025, we're not going in perfect. We're not going in, maybe we don't even hit all our goals. Maybe we go above and beyond, but we're going in showing up as ourselves. We're being authentic, and we're really turning inward and asking ourselves the bigger questions of how we want to show up and who we want to become, not just in 2025, but with the rest of our lives. Thanks for joining the In Between podcast. We'll catch you next time.